Now we're going to create a new race from the downloaded tracks. So from the main menu, we select Create a New Race. Select the date of the race, the fleet, and since there may be more than one fleet, you can enter a series name and a race number. You'll notice that across the top of the screen there are tabs that represent the steps of creating a race. We just were in the race setup. This next tab is selecting the boats. You can deselect boats at this point if you wish. I'm going to use all of the boats, and usually that's the case. Click Next. The start time. The start time is the actual start of the race. That is the time at which the boats need to be on the line. We have these buttons that you can step the clock forward, and what I'm going to be looking for is that signature that you see in this area when the boats are starting. So I'm moving the clock forward 5 minutes at a time by clicking this button. They're still in their pre-start. They're still milling about before the pre-start. Things are starting to get a little more organized, and a little more organized, and even more organized. There is the start. If we zoom in, you'll see that all the boats are lined up pretty much on the line, and this very organized tracks heading out, you can see, is after the start. So this is the start time. Now we're going to click Next. Now this is the end time. The end time is the time at which all the boats have finished. So I'm moving the clock forward again. You can see the boats rounded the windward mark, heading down to the leeward gate, back up to the windward mark, and now the boats are headed towards the finish. This yellow boat is the last boat to come across. They're across the finish line, and this is the end time. Click Next. Course heading. This the primary objective is to orient the course with the wind so that the grids represent ladder rungs up the wind. And generally what you want is I'm rotating it around until the windward mark, which is up here, is vertical with the starting area. And that's about right there. So now we have the course oriented. We'll hit Next. This is the screen where you'll probably spend the most time. This is where you put the marks of the course. Usually a pretty good starting point is just to click this button to create a starting line. It looks at where all the boats are at the start, and it creates a starting line. It's generally pretty good. I think I'm going to move the start boat over a little bit, and I did that by doing a right click. If we look at, I'm going to just look at some of these options in the right click. I right clicked on this chart area. You can zoom in to the course. That will show you all the marks of the course. Zoom into the boats, shows you all the boats. The remainder are marks that you can drop in: starting boat, start pin, windward, offset, jibe mark, leeward gates, and the finish boat and pin. If I'm going to use these time controls to move the clock forward. I'm moving the clock forward a minute at a time. Boats are heading up the course. And they are rounding the windward mark. I'm going to do a right click right here and drop in a windward mark. Follow the boats down to the leeward gate. And I'm going to drop in the leeward gate marks, a left gate, and this is the right gate. We'll follow the boats on around to the windward mark again, just to make sure that the windward mark is in about the right place. I think I'm going to move the windward mark a little bit. You can move the marks by clicking and dragging. I'm going to display the whole race again. Okay, so now all the boats go around the mark, which is good. And now they're all heading down towards the finish line. If I zoom in, I'm double-clicking. I will put a start or finish boat about right there, and a finish pin. So there I have put all the marks of the course. Now we can click Next. Here is where you define the course. You basically connect the marks. Here are the marks that were created previously. If I double-click on Start, puts that into course. Then we went to the windward mark, and then the boats travel down to the leeward gate, back to the windward mark, and down to the finish. And there is the course. We hit Finish. We've just created a race.